Welcome back to our Grove Discipleship videos. Last time we introduced the wheel diagram, an illustration to kind of help us understand first and foremost that Christ is the center of our life. And over the next few weeks we're going to be talking about kind of what makes up that, today we're going to be talking about what makes up that rim of your life and kind of what are all the spokes that hold this wheel together. And so we talked about this last week, and I feel like I should say this, that this wheel diagram comes from the Navigators, an incredible ministry that has created some incredible materials over the years. Nav Press, you might have heard of that. So we talked about that the first thing that we need to understand that Jesus doesn't want to be just a part of our life. Spiritual life isn't a dimension of our life, but that our relationship with Christ and our following of Christ needs to be the center of our life. And so today we're going to talk about kind of the rim of the Christ-centered life. And so, the way to think about this is this is what makes it roll. So when your life is rolling well and your wheel is strong, what does a good, solid life look like? You're trying to roll through, succeed in life. Well, today, the outside piece here is obedience. That Christ needs to be the center of our life, and our life really needs to be characterized by one of obedience. We say that we follow Christ, and if we follow Christ, that means we follow what He says. And so He says it this way in John 14, verse 21. He says, "Whoever has my commands and keeps them is the one who loves me. The one who loves me will be loved by my Father, and I too will love them and show myself to them." And so what He's saying here is that the one who really is living out a love and real devotion to God is going to be the one who is obedient, who has the commands, knows the things that Jesus teaches, and then follows them. And I think it's important for us as Christians to make sure that we understand that the commandments of God are in fact that commandments. God is not a life coach. God is not a good counselor. While all of those things might be true, the path to your best life is through following the commandments. That doesn't mean that they're suggestions. It doesn't mean that they're good ideas. They are commandments from God. And so to demonstrate, the way that we demonstrate our love to God is to understand and to know the things that He's taught and to follow them. And then what happens? Our love for God will grow. The love of our Father, that relationship will grow. And we will learn and know more about who Jesus Christ is. Now, I want to make sure that we understand, we're talking about security and assurance. Security means that I am a child of God no matter what. My disobedience after I've given my life to Christ doesn't affect my relationship. My relationship was secure. But we're talking about the subjective piece, not the security and the nature of the relationship, but kind of the experience of the relationship. Am I experiencing God's love? Am I demonstrating God's love? And am I receiving that in return? That comes from obedience. And so while God is an unconditionally loving Father towards those who have received Christ, we need to make sure that we understand that really kind of the key piece to our relationship with Him and the way that we can demonstrate that we are followers is through obedience. So love God with everything that you are is not optional. Love your neighbor as yourself, not optional. The Great Commission, not optional. These are commands in the ways that we demonstrate our love for God. And so I think it's important for us to evaluate ourselves and think, man, am I the kind of person who looks at the things that God has commanded me as suggestions from a good friend or advisor, or do I view them as commands and requirements of my life? And so as we think about this outward piece and the way that we can really get our life rolling, we need to think about, am I or am I not being obedient to the commands of the one true God?